Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. I welcome all of you in our next lesson of Arabic Grammar Level 2. And inshallah, our today's topic is use of kana in Arabic sentences. And inshallah, as you can see on the screen, we'll cover these three subtopics. Use of kana for nominal sentences, use of kana for fail mudare, and how the construction of kana sentences work. Okay, let's inshallah begin. So first of all, use of kana in nominal sentences. Okay, so as we all know that nominal sentence or jumlatul ismiya, it is a sentence which we translate by using is or am or are depending on the person. Okay, now when you add kana in jumlatul ismiya, the meaning changes from is to was. For example, he is my friend. It's a normal jumla ismiya, but if you add kana, he was my friend. Clear? Look at the example on the screen. Huwa alimun, he is a scholar. But kana aliman, he was a scholar. You see, this is the change that takes place from is to was. Now you may be thinking that what happened to this huwa. Inshallah, I'll explain to you in few minutes. Okay, so huwa alimun, but when you added kana aliman, he was a scholar. Okay, secondly, note these 2 points. Number one, when kana is added, khabar becomes nasab. You see, alimun was the khabar and it was rafa, and that is the normal status of khabar. But when you added kana, alimun has become aliman, nasab. Okay. Secondly, you remember this principle. Even though kana gives the meaning of was, but when kana will be used to describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of his name and attributes, then we will not translate it as was. We'll still translate it as is. Okay, look at the example. Kana Allahu ghafuran rahiman. Allah is forgiving and merciful. I did not say that Allah was, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always having these attributes. Okay, and you notice this, ghafuran rahiman, instead of saying ghafurun rahimun, because of kana, your khabar has changed into nasab. Okay, let's move on. Now inshallah we'll see that when kana is added with fail mudare, what change takes place. Okay, as we all know that normal mudare gives the meaning of present or future. For example, he eats or he will eat. This example of mudare. Okay, now let's see that after adding kana, what happens. So when we add kana, we'll translate it by using had been, which is past perfect continuous tense. So you will translate mudare after adding kana. You will translate mudare either with had been or used to. Look at these examples. Yazlimuna anfusahum. Yazlimuna is fail mudare, number 3 in the mudare chart. They wrong their own souls, or they will wrong their own souls. Look, when we added the kana, kanu, by the way, you may be thinking it should be kana. Yes, because kana is for singular and the plural version of kana is kanu. That's why I use kanu here. It is still a kana construction. Okay, the kana has changed into kanu just because of that the people in the sentence, they are plural. Okay, so kanu yazlimuna anfusahum. They used to wrong their own soul. You see, used to, or you can say they had been wronging their own souls. One more example. Yaqtuluna an-nabiyyin. They kill the prophets, or they will kill the prophets. Normal mudare. Look after adding the kana. Once again, because it was yaqtuluna, so I added kanu because it was plural. So kanu yaqtuluna an-nabiyyin. They used to kill the prophets, or they had been killing the prophets. That is the change which takes place in mudare when you add Kana or any member from the Kana family, as I added Kanu. Kanu is from the Kana family. Okay, inshallah, we'll see the whole family in a minute. So that is the case of Mudare when we add Kana. Let's move on. Now, inshallah, I show you, because Kana, please pay attention, Kana is a fail. And as we know, every fail has three versions or three forms: past, present, and future. Both are covered in Mudare. And number three is fail, Amr or command. One more time, every fail has three forms: past, which is Madi, and then Mudare. Second form is Mudare, which covers both present and future. And number three, command or Amr. Inshallah, we see that same is the case with Kana as well. So on this slide, you can see the Kana chart. Why? It is the Madi version. Okay. And I have made this Kana chart in the same way as you make your normal Madi chart, with the 14 cells, and first one is singular, second and first column is singular, second is for the pair, and third is for the plural. And secondly, these first two lines, they are for third person. This line number 3 and 4 for the second person, and this last line is for the first person. Okay, so basically same chart as you make your chart. Okay, so Kana, he was. Kana, now two people, they were. Kanu, you still say they were, but now they are more than two. Okay, Kanat, she was. Kanata, they were, but this time they female and two in number. Kunna, still they were, but this time they feminine and more than two. Kunta, you were. Kuntuma, you were. Kuntum, you were. But in each case, you know that in English you only say you, but this was singular masculine you, this was two masculine you, and this was more than two masculine you. And then the feminine you, Kunti, you were. Kuntuma, you were. Kuntunna, you were. But this one for feminine singular, this one is feminine two, and this one feminine more than two. And then last, first person, kuntu, I was or I were, depending on the construction of the sentence. And kunna, we were. You see, so this is, and now you can understand the reason that why did I use kanu in this sentence. Why did I use kanu? Because yazlimuna was third person, masculine, plural. That's why I use the third person, masculine, plural form of kanu. Clear? That is how you select the kana, that which member of the kana family will be used depending on the word, depending on the file or the doer of that sentence. Clear? Now let me show you the mudare chart of this kana. The mudare form of kana is yakunu. Okay, yakunu, yakunani. Now yakunu mean he is. Okay, and yakunani, they are. Yakununa, they are. And likewise the whole chart. Okay, takunu, she is. Okay, so this is the mudare chart of the kana form of mudare is yakunu, and this is the whole chart for yakunu. And as I mentioned here, that the command form of kana is kun. So kana, madi, yakunu, mudare, and kun, fail amr. Whenever you're learning any fail, you need to learn all of these three forms. Clear? So this was just to show you that how the kana charts are built. Let's inshallah move on to our last topic. Okay, now inshallah we'll see the construction of kana sentences. First, understand these points. Kana being an incomplete word. Read these points carefully. In Arabic language, every fail is a complete sentence. That is, it represents an action with tense and has a built-in doer of that action. So in Arabic, every fail is a complete sentence. Why? Because every fail has these two things. Number one, it has an action with tense. And secondly, it has a built-in doer or file as well. Look at the example. Dahika. Dahika. Okay. It means he laughed. It's a fail Madi and number one in the Madi cell. Dahika, he laughed. You can see he is the doer and laughing is the action, and it's happening in the past, laughed. Okay, so this is what I mean by that every fail in Arabic is a complete sentence, as Dahika is a complete sentence. Clear? Now, unlike that, kana is an incomplete verb. Okay, in the sense that it needs something after it to convey some message. Even though kana is a fail, but it is fail naqis or incomplete fail. Why? Because it does not convey any message until you bring something else after it. Look at this example. Kana just simply means he was. Now, what he was? Now you need to bring something after kana to explain. That is why kana is called fail naqis or incomplete verb. Clear? Now, let's see that how this deficiency of kana is fulfilled. This deficiency of kana, which I just explained to you, is fulfilled by making it work the same way as inna sentence. What does that mean? Such sentence, which means the kana sentence, such sentence starts with kana or any members of the kana family. Remember, kana or any member. For example, kana has a complete chart. So it could be any member of the kana family that will start the sentence. And then it will have two things. Ism of kana and khabar of kana. You see, because these two things, ism of something and khabar of something, because they are the features of inna sentences. That's why I said that kana works the same way as inna in this sense, that after kana or after the family member of kana, you will get ism of kana and then a khabar of kana. And ism of kana, it will be either a noun outside of it, a clear noun outside of it, or a pronoun built inside of kana. Now you remember that when I said kana aliman, now because kana has a built-in he, that's why you don't need huwa. Let me show you that example again. You see, huwa alimun, he is a scholar. Clear? When I use kana, I did not use huwa. Why? Because kana has a built-in huwa. And the built-in file or the built-in ism of kana is found the same way as you find the built-in doer of any other fail, which means that because kana is cell number one in the Madi chart and cell number one has a built-in he. This was the reason I did not use huwa when I use kana, because kana has a built-in huwa. Clear? Now you got this point. Now let's go back to our discussion. So ism of kana will be either a noun outside of it or a pronoun built inside of it, as I show you kana aliman. Okay. And then khabar of kana, it will be any form of the three categories of khabar. As you know that khabar in Arabic has three forms. A one word khabar, which we call the mufrad, and a complete sentence khabar, and shibhul jumla khabar. Same will be the case with kana. Khabar of kana will be in any of these three categories. Now let's understand this concept with example. Look at example number one. Kana Allahu ghafuran rahiman. Now, sentence begin with kana. Okay. After kana, you will need two things. Ism of kana and khabar of kana. How would you know that ism of kana is inside the kana or outside the kana? Let me give you very simple principle. After kana, if you get an ism in rafa status, then that ism will become the ism of kana. And if after the kana you don't get any ism in rafa status, then the ism of kana will still remain inside of it. For example, as you can see, kana Allahu, after kana, Allahu is coming in the rafa status. You see, so Allahu will become the ism of kana. In case if this Allahu was missing from here, which means the sentence was kana ghafuran rahiman, then what would you say? You say that ism of kana was inside the kana and that was he. And then you translate as he is forgiving and merciful. You got this point? So what I was saying is that after kana, you need ism of kana, and ism of kana could be inside kana or outside the kana. As in this case, Allahu is the outside kana, serving as the ism of kana, and then Ghafuran and Rahiman will serve as the khabar of kana. Ghafuran khabar number 1 and Rahiman khabar number 2. Because we know this principle that when Allah's names and attributes come one after the other, we don't call them Mawsuf Sifa, we make them something else. As in this case, I made them Ghafuran, khabar number 1, Rahiman, khabar number 2, because a sentence can have multiple khabar. Okay, so one more time, Allahu, ism of kana, Ghafuran and Rahiman are the khabar of kana. One more example, Kana aliman, same sentence, Kana aliman. So you got kana. Now after kana, you need two things, ism of kana. Now after the kana, do you have any ism in rafa status? No, which means that now the ism of kana will be the built-in pronoun, and inside of kana is a built-in pronoun he. How do you know this? Because look at this one, because kana is number 1 in the Madi chart, and number 1 has he, and this one has they, this one has they, this one has she, this one has they, you. All of this, as we already learned in when we're learning the Jumlatul Feiliya, we learned this thing that how to figure out the inside pronoun. So because kana was number 1 in the chart, so that's why I said here that kana, after kana you need ism of kana, so he or huwa, because the Arabic word for he is huwa. So huwa will be the ism of kana, and then aliman, khabar of kana. And as you notice in both cases, that khabar of kana as aliman or ghafuran, rahiman, khabar of kana is always nasab. Clear? So in a nutshell, because kana is an incomplete fi'l, so we treat the kana construction in the same way as the inna construction, which means after kana, you will find two things, ism of kana and khabar of kana. Clear? Now, last point, inshallah, before we finish. Even though I said that kana works like inna, but you need to remember as a concept, as a student of Arabic language, there is a difference between kana and inna. What are the differences? Number 1, inna is a particle which comes for emphasis. Inna means indeed. But kana is a fail. Yes, it is incomplete fail, but still a fail. Second difference is ism of inna always comes after it, either as a noun or attached pronoun. Examples, inna allaha ghafurun. Now, inna, after that, ism of inna, Allah is the ism of inna. So that's what I said here, that ism of inna comes after inna. Sometimes as a clear ism as Allah, and sometimes as an attached pronoun. For example, innahu ghafurun. Indeed, he is forgiving. So in this case, we have a ism of inna as a clear noun, and in this case, we have ism of inna as an attached pronoun. But point I want you to notice is, in both of these examples, ism of inna is after the inna. It's never built inside of inna. That is the point. Okay? Ism of inna is always after the inna, as Allah or as who. Clear? But in case of kana, however, it can have ism. Ism of kana can be outside of kana, but it can also be built inside of kana. That's the difference. Clear? Look at the example. Kana Allahu Ghafuran Rahima. Kana and ism of kana is Allahu, and it is outside of kana. In this example, kana Ghafuran Rahiman. Okay. Now kana and then Ghafuran Rahiman. There's no ism of kana given outside. So now the built-in he will be serving as the ism of kana. So in a nutshell, ism of kana can be outside, as in this example, Allahu, or it can be built in pronoun as he in this case. Clear? But in the case of inna, ism of inna is always outside of inna. Either a clear noun, as in this example of Allah, or a attached pronoun as who, but in both cases it is outside of inna. Clear? So this was the difference. And last point is, as you have already noticed this point, that ism of inna is nasab and khabar of inna is rafa, and kana is completely opposite. Now remember this principle. It's a very good, inshallah, tip for all of you. Whenever two things are complete opposite of each other, don't try to memorize both of them. Just memorize one of them and other one will be its opposite. As in this case, only memorize the inna principle. What is inna principle? Ism of inna is always nasab and khabar of inna is rafa. Kana is opposite, which means ism of kana will be rafa and khabar of kana will be nasab, as you have seen already in the example. So don't confuse your mind. It's very simple principle, but remember the tip. Don't memorize both of them. Only memorize the inna principle. And what is inna principle? That ism of inna is nasab and khabar of inna is rafa, and kana is opposite to this. Clear? So this is inshallah which all you need to know at this stage with regard to the kana, its use in the sentences and how it works. Okay. Barakallahu fi. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.